Hello and welcome to Brewers Daily, part of the Fan Arch Podcast Network. This episode is brought to you by Kalshi. Use promo code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10. I'm Dave Gasper here. The Brewers sweep the Cincinnati Reds in Cincinnati. A fantastic series. Get a little bit more run scoring in the finale of this one, but the Brewers come out on top. We got some news in the bullpen. We'll take a look at the NL Central here at the division, and then also talk about the farm system a little bit as well. But this series in Cincinnati, the Brewers take the first two in some very low scoring affairs. And the finale was not quite the same. Ends up being a 6-5 final there. But Shane Drowan kind of battled through 4 1/3, was dealing with high pitch counts and things like that. But did not give up a run and got some pretty good support there from William Contreras and Jake Bauers. That certainly helps a lot when you get home runs from those two guys. Contreras up to 8 on the season now. Bauers 14. Just incredible. Just such a great season from Jake Bauers so far. So, that gave the Brewers a nice little cushion in this game. But Drowan only able to go 4 1/3, like I said. Got to turn it over to the bullpen. And the Brewers had a lot of their bullpen down. We'll get into that there. But it kind of turns into being a bit of a closer game, and then Andrew Vaughn comes through with a bases clearing 3 RBI double right down the third base line, and absolutely provided the spark that the Brewers needed, and it gave them enough to get over the hump there, and be able to stave off the Cincinnati Reds and just continue these winning ways and continue a really strong road trip. And now the Brewers are going to be returning home with some momentum there, as they're going to be taking on the Chicago Cubs starting on Friday night. And to be able to get this sweep without Jacob Mizorowski or Kyle Harrison pitching in any of these games, I think that says a lot too. Now, granted, the Reds are a team that's a bit down in the dumps now. They're at 37-42 on the season, but still, to be able to get that kind of a sweep without your two best pitchers pitching, I think it says a lot about the tenacity of this team, about how this team has gotten a whole lot better, especially with Cooper Pratt, joining the group here. I mean, Pratt went 0 for 4 on Wednesday, but still, this is a very strong team, continuing to get stronger. Even though you had the tough series against Atlanta, to be able to bounce back against a division rival and get the win, I think that speaks a lot to this team, this group, and now they're going to get a chance to continue that going up against the Chicago Cubs. But in this game, you did not have your top relievers. Abner Uribe, who had, there had been that 1 game suspension kind of hanging over his head that he was appealing for since quite a while. It seems like, honestly, forever that he had been appealing. That Cardinals series where he karate chopped or DX chopped the Cardinals. I mean, that was all the way back in late May. I mean, it's been basically a month that he's been appealing. So for him, he pitched back-to-back days, like 4 and 5 days. So excuse me. He wasn't likely to be pitching anyways on Wednesday. So kind of, drops the appeal and just accepts the suspension on day he's not going to pitch. But also, you didn't have Aaron Ashby, you didn't have McGill. So you're down your top arms in the bullpen. And so who ends up stepping up into those high leverage roles? Craig Yoho and Joel Kuhnel. And I mean, Yoho stepping up could be a bit of a stretch there, considering that he gave up 3 runs in this game. 1 inning, 3 runs, a homer. That's not ideal, but he did hold the lead. So he was able to get the hold there, his first of the season, which is nice. But Joel Kuhnel ends up coming through and getting the final 4 outs of the game. High leverage Joe Kuhnel. If you had told me that was going to be happening, especially so soon, that certainly would not have been in my bingo card. I would not have expected it. I expected Kuhnel to be your mop-up guy replacing Jake Woodford. But here he is pitching in high leverage roles. Now, granted, it took 3 guys being down out of that bullpen for them. I mean, Chad Patrick covered an inning and 2/3. You get Grant Anderson, but then you turn to Yoho and Kunal. It's like, look, it's on you guys. Here's your moment to prove that you got the stuff. Because the Brewers already took 2 out of 3. I think they'd be happy with that. Don't necessarily need a sweep as much as you want to sweep, but for them to step up in those opportunities, more so especially Kunal. But again, Yoho kept the lead, so that counts for something. And that put the Brewers in a prime spot here to get the win. And now they're going to be able to ride that momentum back into this next series coming up, and they're going to need it because they're taking on the Chicago Cubs. And on Kalshi, you can trade every single game. And when you're looking at this game for the Brewers and the Cubs, you look at the chart here on Kalshi. The Brewers are trading at 68% to win this game. Now, I mean, baseball games are usually 50-50. Why in the world are the Brewers trading so high to beat the Cubs? Oh, wait. That's right. It is Jacob Mizrowski bump day on Friday night. So we're feeling really good about about the opportunities there. For the Milwaukee Brewers, it's going to be Miz and then Kyle Harrison back to back in that game. So yeah, if you're looking for opportunities there to go with the Brewers and trade on the Brewers, I think that's a wonderful opportunity to do it, and that's why we're seeing the percentage go up the way that it is. But with what we have here, I think we're still taking the Brewers. We're still taking the Brewers at the 68% chance, which does mean a $100 trade pays out $144 with a win. And look, when Jacob Mizrowski's on the bump, you got a chance for absolute dominance. So the Cubs haven't been super great. They've had their scuffles, but even with this percentage, being there and everyone else looking at this being like, yeah, Brewers. Sometimes when everyone knows something, they actually do know something. I think there's certainly something to Jacob Mizrowski bump days. So $100 trade pays out $144 with a win at the 68%. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use promo code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10 KALSHI Kalshi trade on anything. All right, looking ahead now, as we've kind of been talking about here with the division, the Brewers are continuing this stretch here of division games that they have. I mean, they just took 3 against the Cincinnati Reds, and the Brewers have more coming up here as they got the Cubs this weekend, and then the Reds come to town again, so the Brewers face the Reds twice in a week, and then after that, Arizona Diamondbacks for a little bit of a breather, and then you face the St. Louis Cardinals for 5 games, and then you face Pittsburgh Pirates for 3 to head into the All-Star break. So a big stretch of games here against division opponents, and the Brewers really can strengthen their lead in this division and jump out even further ahead, because you look at the standings the way they are right now, the Brewers have a 7-game lead in the NL Central. I mean, they have really jumped out. The Cubs and Cardinals are both tied at 7 games back. The Brewers all the way up there at 49 and 29, 20 games over 500. The Pirates are 10 games back at 40 and 40. And then Cincinnati Reds have fallen all the way now to 12 and a half games back with their getting swept over the past couple of days. So the Brewers have put themselves really in a prime spot, but you still have so many more games against the division to go that you still have to take care of business against them to make sure that they kind of stay at arm's length away from you there. I mean, the Brewers on FanGraphs are currently up to an 84.2% chance to win the division, 97.5% chance to make the playoffs. So they're in prime spot, being 20 games above 500 here. I mean, even if they have a bit of a downturn, which excuse me, which hopefully they don't, then the Brewers can still be sitting in a really, really good position. So you have a lot of games here against the division coming up, and it's all in a row. Today, Thursday here, is the last off day the Brewers are going to have until we get to the All-Star game. So it's a stretch of 18 games in 17 days. You got the 3 this weekend, then you got the Reds for 4, then you got the Diamondbacks for 3, Cardinals for 5, Pirates for 3, all right in a row. No off days until July 13th. It's a long way to go. Which is also why the Brewers rested half of their bullpen seemingly on Wednesday against the Reds, get them the double off days, and get them ready to go. So the Brewers are going to need as much help as they can to get through that stretch, because that is certainly going to be tough on the schedule here. But then you get 4 full days of rest with the All-Star break, so that'll be much needed, a nice big refresher for them, as this is the last homestand until the second half of the regular season as well, with the Cubs and Reds, and the Brewers go on the road for all those, and then they come back July 17th against the Marlins, is when they start up another homestand for them. So a little bit of a ways to go still for this group, but you open up a nice cushy lead in the division, and that is the important part. And, sometimes to get through those stretches, you do need a dip into your farm system a little bit. The Brewers have been doing that. And, I've been keeping an eye on the farm system, as I've been known to do. And I have updated my top 50 Brewers prospects list. It is over at brewcrewball.com. It went up on Wednesday morning. And this just contains the update from stats in the first half, because minor league season is divided into halves as well, and their first half is more like an actual half. So it's earlier than the All-Star break, but with the first half in, and all the guys who have been performing well, not performing well, things like that, make some adjustments to the list. We also have bunch of graduations from the list as well. Brandon Sproat, Logan Henderson, Robert Gasser graduates, Shane Drowan graduates. Like, all these guys that we've seen kind of come up, and Pat Murphy has talked about as rookies, they have reached graduation level from prospect status. So that cleared out a lot of room in the top 50. So there's a bunch of new players joining the list. A bunch of guys moving up as well. Braylon Payne, one of the biggest movers. Dylan O'Ray, one of the biggest movers, rising up the list. Of course, Luis Lara and Josh Adamczewski continuing to rise throughout the system. But we got some new names like Alexander Frias, who dominated the Arizona Complex League and is now up with Loe Wilson. You got Josiah Ragsdale, who's been really, really good for the Timber Rattlers. I got a chance to see him the other day when I went up to watch that team. So you do have some movements and adjustments and some intel on all those guys. So my top 50 prospects list is up at brewcrewball.com. You can go check it out over there. And just kind of get more of that in-depth view of this farm system, and just really how strong it is. It is the best farm system in all of baseball. It is stocked with blue-chip talent at the top. I mean, Andrew Fisher wasn't even in my top 5. You look at the home runs that he has, you think, oh, that's easily top 5 prospect in any system. No, Andrew Fisher's not even top 5 in this system. That's how good it is. Lots of great talent there, and it's all over at brewcrewball.com. So appreciate all of you checking that out. If you're so inclined, also follow me on Twitter at dgasper24. And if you've been enjoying this show, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and get notified every single time a new episode drops. Appreciate all of you watching and listening, and we'll see you again next time for another episode of Brewers Daily.